Something massive just happened in Canada's energy standoff, and Alberta may have just played its final card. No one saw this coming, not Ottawa, not the markets, and definitely not the rest of the provinces now scrambling to figure out what it means. But make no mistake, what Premier Danielle Smith just did could reshape Canada's energy future forever. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's break down what's really going on. For months, tensions between Alberta and Ottawa have been rising quietly: pipelines, carbon caps, emissions targets, and who really controls Canada's vast energy wealth. It's been a tug-of-war. On one side, Prime Minister Mark Carney in Ottawa pushing for what he calls a clean, sustainable future. On the other, Danielle Smith insisting that Alberta's resources are not Ottawa's to dictate. But what happened this week, it feels different. It feels final. Late last night, sources close to the Alberta government hinted at a move that insiders are calling a decisive energy shift. Alberta, they say, is done waiting for federal approval. Done negotiating. Done playing by Ottawa's rules. And this time, they're not bluffing. Across Alberta's oil sands and energy corridors, quiet but calculated steps are being taken, contracts reassigned, shipments redirected, and partnerships reviewed with astonishing speed. What it all adds up to, well, that's the part no one's confirming. But one thing is crystal clear: Ottawa didn't see it coming. According to early reports, officials in the Prime Minister's office were caught off guard when Alberta's latest directive hit the desks in Ottawa early this morning. The details are still emerging, but it's being described as a bold assertion of provincial control, one that some legal experts are already calling unprecedented. And here's the shocking part: it might actually work. For years, Ottawa has relied on Alberta's energy revenues to fuel national programs, everything from transfer payments to infrastructure funds. But if Alberta really follows through with this, the financial shockwaves could ripple across the entire country. Imagine this: billions in federal revenue suddenly frozen. Energy shipments rerouted. International buyers quietly making new arrangements, not through Ottawa, but directly through Alberta. It's the kind of strategic maneuver that could flip the balance of power overnight. Now, let's be clear, nothing is officially confirmed. No one's holding press conferences. No government memos have been made public. But the reaction tells its own story. By noon today, markets were already responding. The Canadian dollar dipped slightly, and oil prices jumped amid speculation of supply uncertainty. Energy executives, who usually stay quiet during political turbulence, have been seen rushing into emergency meetings across Calgary and Edmonton. Something big is happening, and everyone's bracing for what comes next. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, the silence is deafening. Prime Minister Mark Carney has yet to issue a statement. His team, according to insiders, is in closed-door meetings trying to assess what leverage they still have left. Because if Alberta's play holds, Ottawa could lose its grip on one of the most powerful economic tools in the country. And this isn't just about money. It's about control. Danielle Smith has long argued that Alberta should decide how its own energy is produced, sold, and taxed. And this latest move, whatever it fully entails, seems to be the culmination of that philosophy. She's drawn the line, and Ottawa has been forced to look at it. But behind the scenes, there's more going on than anyone's admitting. Multiple provincial leaders are reportedly watching Alberta's move closely: Saskatchewan, Manitoba, even parts of British Columbia. They've all felt the tension of federal overreach in the energy sector. If Alberta's plan succeeds, it could inspire others to follow suit, forming what one insider described as a Western economic bloc, independent in spirit and, maybe, one day, in structure. Now, let's pause on that for a second. If a single province, even Alberta, can unilaterally change how energy policy works in this country, it doesn't just challenge federal authority, it redefines it. That's why people in Ottawa are nervous. Because this isn't just policy anymore, it's politics. High-stakes, national, unpredictable politics. Some senior federal sources reportedly warned that Alberta's move could fracture the cooperative framework that keeps the country's energy grid stable. Translation: if this goes sideways, it could hit consumers across Canada: higher fuel prices, energy shortages, and mounting uncertainty about where power really comes from. And then, there's the international dimension. When word of Alberta's latest maneuver reached Washington, reports suggest that energy analysts there immediately started reviewing cross-border agreements. One senior U.S. official, close to the administration, reportedly described Alberta's play as a game-changer. Even President Trump, who has publicly praised provincial independence before, is said to be monitoring the situation closely. Why? Because Alberta's energy exports don't just serve Canada, they feed U.S. industries too. If Alberta starts acting independently, it changes the dynamics of the North American energy market. Suddenly, deals that used to go through Ottawa might not anymore. That's what makes this move so dangerous and so fascinating. It's a power shift in real time. A province standing up to federal authority in a way that few thought possible. And while the details remain murky, the tone coming out of Edmonton is unmistakable. Alberta is done waiting. In a late-night statement, Premier Danielle Smith didn't name names, but she didn't need to. She said, quote, "Alberta will no longer allow its prosperity to be dictated by those who do not understand the realities of our energy economy." That's not just rhetoric, that's a warning shot. Insiders say Alberta's government has been quietly preparing for this for months, possibly even longer. New legislation drafted, legal opinions gathered, contingency plans drawn up in case Ottawa tried to intervene. Some even claim a network of private energy agreements has already been put in place, waiting for this exact moment. And now, it's been triggered. What happens next is anyone's guess. Ottawa could push back hard legally, politically, even financially. But Alberta's leadership appears ready for that fight. And the fact that this is happening while national polls show growing frustration in Western Canada only adds fuel to the fire. Mark Carney faces a monumental test. Does he confront Alberta directly and risk deepening the divide? Or does he negotiate quietly behind closed doors, hoping to bring the situation back under control before it spirals further? Either choice carries risk, and neither guarantees stability. Meanwhile, the rest of Canada watches in disbelief. Because this isn't just another argument about energy policy, this is the kind of moment that history books remember. The kind of moment that defines who really governs the country's resources and who just thinks they do. And here's where the story takes an even sharper turn, because while Ottawa scrambles for a legal or political counter, something unexpected is happening behind the curtain. Several private energy firms, long frustrated by federal red tape, are rumored to be aligning quietly with Alberta's new stance. They're not issuing statements, they don't need to. Their actions speak louder, shifting assets westward, moving operations, preparing for what one executive reportedly called a post-Ottawa reality. And that's the real twist. This isn't just government versus government anymore. It's business taking sides. It's the market itself voting with its feet, deciding where Canada's next energy capital truly lies. If Alberta truly goes through with this, we could be witnessing the start of a new chapter in Canada's economic history, one that challenges the very foundation of Confederation. And the most unsettling part? No one knows where it ends. So as of today, here's where things stand. Ottawa silent. Alberta defiant. Markets nervous. The country holding its breath. Some call it negotiation. Others call it rebellion. But one thing is certain, Alberta just played its final card. And if it works, nothing in Canada's energy landscape will ever be the same again. Keep watching, because the next 24 hours could change everything.